Alright guys, I think we're going to get started with our next talk. Our next talk is entitled A Gang Member's View on Life, Death, Religion, and Uncertainty by UNI student and Iowa State Commissioner Ramón Cantú. Ramón Cantú is a former gang member of 16 years. Education saved Ramon's life in the streets. He is a first-generation, non-traditional transfer student from San Antonio, Texas. He is a UNI history major, minoring in political science, and he is also an Iowa Department of Human Rights Commissioner representing the Iowa Latino Affairs Division. He is a human rights activist, a gang interventionist, a youth advocate, and is a promoter of education, diversity, and multicultural awareness. So please help us, please help us give a warm welcome to Ramón Cantú.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all doing? I will say that I'm very tired. I've had an hour of sleep in the past 26 hours. I'm very busy. As the introduction is, I do a lot of things on campus and in the community across the state. Those are some of the titles I retained. I'm going to put out a disclaimer out here. One of the things I want you to know is that whatever I say today is not to offend you. The intention is not to cause grief or for my words to touch you after you leave this day and it's kind of, I've hit you on a immoral ground, so to speak. In other words, by offend you, it's not my intention. My intention is to enlighten you on a new thought of thinking. And as we get through this session today, you'll see how my life has been transformed and how I've had my own evolution as I've grown from the streets and made it through academia. So please bear with me. These are my parents. My mom is a natural blonde, believe it or not. She passes for a European American. I don't use the word white. If we use African American, Mexican American, then if you're white, you're European American. Because your ancestral roots come from the motherland. The only people that were here before this land was founded was Native Indians. So you're either Irish descent, Danish, German, whatever it may be. Your ancestral roots come from Europe. My father's on the right. My father was a known drug dealer. He was a drug trafficker. That's the way he dressed. We had some of the best times. During that time, those photos, I was about 6, 7 years old. My father was a very hard man. He was one that would pick up the phone, said some things, things happened. I looked up to that because I felt, even as a little boy, I felt powerful. Because here I had a man who was counting thousands of dollars every night. Mind you, mother didn't know what his true life was in the streets. She thought he was a club owner, which he was. But out of those clubs, he was running drugs. This is a gunshot wound to my leg at 12 years old. Now, why I shifted really quickly from there to there? Because that life went away really fast. Mom divorced dad. She sent me down south to Texas, San Antonio, Texas, from Fort Worth. So if you look at Fort Worth, going to San Antonio, she kept going south to the valley near Mexico. Dad would send men down south. They wouldn't find me down south because I was in San Antonio. So he went too far. I was living with my other sister. I have a brother and a sister, which are both from my mother's previous marriage. As you can tell, at 7 years old, I loved my dad. I adored him. That was taken away from me. I felt abandoned, neglected, unwanted. I felt like the world had just left me alone. At 7 years old, I was very angry. To be honest with you, I was pretty disturbed at that time because I got to see a lot of violence. As a 6 and 7 year old man, my father used to take me to those bars where he did what he had to do to make ends meet. Like I said, that's the first gunshot wound to the lower ankle, 12 years old, because I joined the gang. First time I joined the gang, it was because of bullying. And I find it hard to believe that we're barely talking about bullying now because it's occurring to the LGBT community. But do you know one of the #1 factors why a person joins a gang is because they've been bullied? They needed protection. It isn't a choice. You think a 12-year-old kid wants to pick up a gun and start shooting at somebody because they're wearing the opposite color? No. It is those that are representing that color that have bullied that child. In order to get through that initiation, I had to walk down some railroad tracks. So picture some railroad tracks, I'm walking. There's 6 guys on each side, and I'm getting punched left and right. My objective is to get to the end of the line. I was about 12 years old. If 100 pounds, I had to go through that line twice. They did not take me to the hospital. But I joined the gang. I got protection. I got power. I got family, a new family, which replaces my father. That's what I thought. Gunshot woman having them drive by out in a park. So imagine being in a park. I need you to be empathetic with what I'm telling you today so you can feel the true nature of what it was like to be in my shoes. So imagine being out in the park. Some rival gang members roll by and they just start spraying. I'm green to that life. I just got initiated. What do? I'm running when I should be hitting the ground. Part of the shell hits the ankle. And I'll pass these around so you can see them closely. Instead of taking me to the hospital, these guys put me on the twin bed, had the biggest gang member we had, sat on me, not that I was that heavy and strong to begin with, being 100 pounds. And they got cigars and just burned what was left of the lead in my ankle to prevent gangrene, to prevent infection. Because if they took me to the hospital, then I have to say what happens. See? Nobody goes to jail this way. So I knew then, at that early age, that I needed to be loyal. I needed to be faithful. Because they were going to protect me. They gave me power! So you jump. A lot of you are going to be jumping here in a little bit. See, I'm a calm person. But my heart beats 1,000 miles an hour. So you got to catch up with me. See what I'm saying? Second gunshot. Lower thigh. I'm caught between the drive-by. Fall to the floor. But I took a shell. I had to go to the hospital that time. See, but we don't learn. Nerve damage. When I go around speaking around in the state, when I do gang intervention and prevention workshops for the Department of Human Rights for the state of Iowa, I have always have this one kid. Well, sir, how do we know those are your scars? This is nerve damage. The little holes that you see, those are staples. I've had over 160 staples on my body. This is proof. It's unethical for me to get undressed today, so I'm going to just show you my arm. The most important gunshot wound I've ever endured. Imagine yourself going through this life. You're stuck in poverty. Your mom went away. You rebelled against your sister. You have no father. And the only family you got is your gang family. And all you see on a daily basis is drama, violence, domestic violence, abuse, assaults, shootouts, drug dealing, drug abuse, any type of PTSD you can think of. I felt it in the streets. So on Christmas Day of 1996, I shot myself. That's a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. Why I survived? Because the ignorance in me, I was staying in a hotel. I was homeless at the time. There ain't many drug dealers that got big houses. They either living with their mamas or on the streets. That's a fact. There ain't no real money out there. It's just a Scarface dream. It's all BS. It's Hollywood. It's media. When I say BS, I mean bullshit. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to get real here real quick. Took my life. When I slammed the door, the hinge didn't lock. It kept it cracked open. I went to lay down and I popped myself. The security guard was a German guy, about 6 foot, 250, kicks the door down, jumps on me, and tries to stop the blood, stops me from bleeding. And I kept fighting him, but he was too strong. I've had difficulty since the get-go with God. Is there one? Is there not one? I can say, well, God saved me that day. No, it was a 6-foot German, 250-pound guy named John who saved me. And then it wasn't even my gang brothers that helped save me. It was that doctor, Dr. Powers, who performed 10 hours of surgery to save my life because I had lost a lot of blood. Is that God? Or is that somebody that went to an institution of higher learning and became a bright, badass surgeon that could save my life? And she probably put in 10 to 12 years. Is that God? We're going to get it. Remember, the title of this session is Caught Between Good and Evil. A gang member's view on life, death, uncertainty, and religion. This is my belief. This is my faith. My faith got you believing that if I put a gun in your hand, you got color, you got power, you got drug distribution, you got homeboys that'll back you up. You are somebody. But we don't realize. Can you pass this around? These are the pictures of up close gunshots. This is the receipt of what that is worth. None of my homeboys ever told me, Mr. Cantú, you want to fight for your life. You worth $1.07. I go around the state preaching. You know how much you're giving your life to for $1.07? Because that's the cost of a bandana at Hobby Lobby. No gang leader will ever tell a gang recruit that information. Because it takes away the power. What is your God? My faith and a pistol in my pocket is my God because I got power. Can I borrow you for a second? Yeah. No? Stay there. Because if I put a gun to your head, I got the power to take your fucking life. Because you got something valuable that I want. Your money, your car. Maybe I just want to take your life. Because I want what you got that I don't ever have. Because remember, I'm from the streets. The gun is my Lord. Think about what I'm talking about here. It has nothing to do with religion. Because in the ghetto, there ain't no God. It's about 10,000 churches, but there ain't no God. A gospel of what? They ain't coming to me and invite me into their temple. It's the gang leader and the drug dealer that's recruiting me. Ain't no pastor coming to my house trying to pay my light bill, put food on my table. Hell no! It's my ghetto brother that's suffering just like me, that wants to get inside me and tell me that I don't need nothing but this. They ain't telling me it's $1.07. It's a sin, ain't it, to die for $1.07? I cannot talk about my personal gang affiliation, and with all due respect, the question I will not allow, that I will not ask, is if you answer is if you ask me what my gang affiliation is. So to substitute this, I'm using the almighty Latin king and queen nation. It is a social movement. It's got chapters all over the United States. It has its religion. It has its creed. It even has its own churches. Straight up. Look it up on ABC or HBO. They have their own mass. Because places like this ain't offering them nothing. They don't care about the last child. No child left behind. That one that's in the corner. That one that gets up early in the morning and is causing teachers problems at 7:30 in the morning. This is the new family. Black and gold was a royalty. They start them off young. Because there ain't nothing out there for us. For them. They use the lion as their symbol. They say the lion is king of the jungle. Is it not true that Charles Darwin says, survival of the fittest? Who's king? Lion take all. Think about the psychological rhetoric that the almighty land king and queen nation are doing. They call themselves a nation. There's hundreds of thousands of them. Not just in the United States, but overseas. Some of you people want to take trips to Latin America. Do you know that this group is there waiting for you? Take the wrong turn. Make the wrong move. Meet the wrong brother. And you'll catch yourself in a world of... These are actual prayers when they're at war. Mortal warrior, I am a Latin king, Latin queen in every moment, protecting my crown. With all my life, it is my sacrifice in every mission that it be readily available until death. They're willing to die for it. Render in my heart of thee, I ask our Heavenly Father, forgive my sins and free my soul. Amor del Rey, love of King. Ladies and gentlemen, I just explained to you, I've been shot 3 times for the cause. $1 was given. That's how much power it has. That's how much religion it's got. It is not just a fabricated metaphor of lost children. These are thinkers, free thinkers, real inquirers. They even ask, our name as our Father named us. We are yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Almighty Father, King of Kings. They have a book that's thick as these, with rules, regulations, constitutions, prayers of how to run a life. Because basically all the books that are before us that are ancient are guidelines to run your life. They decided to create their own. You ask why gang members get tatted on their backs and they have religious symbols and stuff like that. Well, why is he a gangbanger wearing a rosary? Why does he got the prayer hands? Why does he got the Virgin Mary on him? If you ain't got no faith in the world but in your gang nation, you want to be received somehow, whether you know it exists or not, whether you living in hell or heaven. Bottom line, you want to pray to something. And in the Latino culture, the Virgen de Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary, is the utmost power. Not that it's more than Jesus Christ or God, but they look at her as the mother of all mothers. Because without women, there's no womb. Without womb, there's no reproduction. The world ends. That's why, where you see Mexican flags, you see the Virgin Mary. The prayer hangs. A lot of these gang members wear rosaries that they make by themselves in their own hands to pay homage. This don't mean nothing to no gangsters. It's part of the territory. Do your crime, you do your time. You know? It's kind of like passing the course. You done got to the first semester, you got to do it again second semester. It's part of the routine. This is the future. All these hip-hop artists getting tatted up from the neck down, that's a bunch of bullshit. These brothers have been doing it since the 70s and 80s. They walk around like this, flaunting gang affiliation. Next time you take a look at Lil Wayne, he's got 2 teardrops, 2 on the left, 1 on the right. One of y'all ask him, have you ever killed anybody? Because a teardrop on the right means you don't murder somebody. 2 teardrops on the top means you done did 210, 20 years for murder. 2 on the inside, 1 on the outside. I don't know if Lil Wayne has ever killed anybody, much less 3 people. But if it's trendy, and that'll get you to get a tattoo, then after a while, all of y'all start looking like this. Then you ask yourself, she was innocent. She had nothing to do with it. He was innocent. He was a schoolboy. Well, he might have gotten a tattoo because he saw one of his damn idols sporting it, and it was gang affiliated. He got blasted for it. Be mindful what you're getting on your skin. Teardrop on the eye means you've murdered somebody and you're doing time. Web on the corner of the elbow means you've done some time. Whether it's open or closed, there's symbolism in there. Yakuza is part of their culture. The Russians, they paint themselves to let you know what crimes they committed. The Aryan Brotherhood takes the cross, 5-point star, and the swastika, and makes it their own. Darwin was a smart man. If the misery of the poor be caused not by the laws of nature, not that nature causes misery, but by our institutions, is the greatest in sin. The misery ain't about there. It's about my people and my brothers and sisters that are a little darker than me that ain't getting access to places like this. Think about that. Why the hell do we not have Waterloo students coming to this school like we should have? Why ain't we recruiting them? Think about it. Why is the number for years been 91, 92% European American, 5% African American black? They say that Latinos are 1%. That's another BS statistic. I can count the Latinos on this campus. Think about that first one. It's powerful. It ain't what's going on out there. Imagine if you went to the young man and said, say, brother, drop your colors. I'll give you a financial aid, some loans, some grants, some scholarships, and maybe you can have some upward mobility with your life. That ain't happening. Kill yourself. Because that's what you've been on. I feel most deeply that this whole question of creation is too profound for human intellect. A dog might as well speculate on the mind of Newton. Let each man hope and believe what he can. My mom's Catholic. I'm non-denomination. She believes in this candle. It's St. Thomas Aquinas, patron saint of education. She sent it to me because I was struggling with math. Am I going to believe in this candle? When I light it, is it going to do something for me? My mother has faith, so let her hope and believe. No one's wrong if you believe or not. Charles Darwin wrote in 1879, last one, I have never been an atheist in the sense of denying the existence of God. I think that generally an agnostic would be the most correct description of my state of mind. An agnostic skeptic. You don't know. You really don't know. Who knows? What do you know? If only when I was in high school, let's say I lived here, these schools came after me. Then do you think I would have the option not to pick one of these? Think about it. Ain't nobody came at me from here. Gang leader recruiter, multicultural counselor admissions recruiter. I ain't seen this brother. Why? Why not? Because this brother's been in my face all goddamn day. One day I'll be a drug dealer, a pimp, a hustler, an assaulter, a habitual criminal, an institutionalized convict, inmate, CID 475-2579. What's your number? Because all you got is social security numbers, but you ain't got that CID, do you? Because you ain't done time. You're too much of a chump to do time. No, I ain't calling you out. What I'm saying is you don't know what's out there. And you don't got to go to Waterloo to see it. It's here in your own backyard. Currently, people They look like me. In order to come to this country to fight deportation because of immigration rights, they got to join the service. Go do a tour in the sandbox. You go and you make it back, we'll give you citizenship. Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Peña, Mr. Perez, Mr. Reyes, Mr. Cantú, because you're from Mexico, Latin America, who knows where the hell you're from. But let's send you to go fight for some freedoms that you ain't even got your own damn self. I got quite a few friends that are in the Marines right now, and they're not American citizens. Or right now, they're in Iraq and Afghanistan and deployed around the world fighting for this with an AR-15. But they still ain't Americans. You tell me what's wrong with immigration. Notice this young man right here. I graduated 6 months after I shot myself. That's Manolo Morales. Look at his fingers. Look at the medallion. He's a drug dealer. He's the only guy that went to my high school graduation. And along with a horde of friends. No family, no support. So what do you think I went as soon as I got that diploma? Right back to the streets after that 5-kegger. Became a dope dealer overnight. Grams, ounces, and pounds. Algebra who? Algebra what? Grams, ounces, and pounds. You got a triple beam, let's make some money. You got $200, let's flip it, we'll make 5. What you want to do? You want to wash some dishes? You want to mop some floors? You want to wait some damn tables? Hell no. You're going to make $500 sweet. Got a little pager? On a big ass cell phone like you did back in the day? This is my reality. Triple beam. You got some weight, make some rolls. You got a new family, pay your homage. You got to do some time, and you're heavily powerful. What else do you need? That's my life. That ain't every Latino's life, every Chicano's life. But that's what happens when there's a lack of education. It is institutions such as these that need to seek out those people. Remember, we're talking about evolution. What the hell is that? What are you saying? I don't know nothing about no damn diploma. I see this on TV. That's for real some bullshit. I don't know what the hell he's wearing. Shit, I can steal one of those. We can forfeit one of those. And every time we go pick up a load, we go to Paradise to go get the drugs. The hell I need that mess for? How about that? I don't need that foolish dream. We already own that. And if we don't got it, we take it away. Put that gun to your head. We'll get it whatever means necessary. Survival of the fittest. That's nice. We're going to get real deep here. The Quran. And yes, I own one. And I said, man, this Mexican crazy. He got Quran in his house. You know what I'm saying? This book did not cause 9/11. Do not be ignorant. This is an ancient religion. It's very ancient. It's difficult to understand. But you need to understand when it was written. It was not written for modern times. Somebody said, well, I'm not going to believe a brother named Muhammad got in a cave, hallucinated, saw God, and God told him to be a prophet. Is that believable? Can that happen? The Torah is the name given by the Jews, the first 5 books. If you think about it, the first 5 books are about the creation of earth. Written in one of these. Another book. King James Bible is Christianity, a born-again Christian. So you saying that after I stop doing my crimes, then now I'm good? I've been shot 3 times. Have I paid for my sins? You know how many people I done shot? I can disclaim that. But I will say that in my own mind, I have not paid. for my consequences. I live every day with a conscience. And the fact of it is I have PTSD. You can ask my girlfriend, do you wake up does he wake up to screaming, yelling? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, I do. I'm very traumatized by what I've done and very remorseful. But does that make me born again? Or if you try to rob me, am I going to be forced to kill you? Because I know how to shoot a gun. The only difference is I'm defending my life. I'm not attacking you. Am I still a born again Christian? So you're saying that if God forgives, and this is what my penal brothers say, when you forgive, you're fine. So if I commit a crime, hey, can I ask for forgiveness, Lord? Yeah, you're good. Go kill somebody. Lord, can I get some forgiveness, Lord? Yes, you can. Go stab somebody. Can I get some forgiveness? Does that work like that? Because in the Bible, it says God forgives. So I can completely keep committing crimes and still get forgiveness? Does it work that way? Buddhism. Gautama, the four sights. Brother gave up royalty. Went wandering around in the wilderness. Went and sat under a Bodhi tree. And wanted to turn his life to a new awakening, to the pathway. So you think the brother's crazy? Because he gave up royalty? Isn't it the same story about Job? Job had everything, they took it from him. This guy gave it up. Nobody had to take nothing from him. Does he still have a vision? So, is it all right to pray to my brother? Huh? To rub his belly? To shine his head? And I shall have fortune? Life, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge? Is that true? No disrespect here. I'm not mocking anyone or any religion. Understand, I'm giving you a train of thought. Catholicism. Patron saints. Mama said, here's this candle. She sent it from Texas. It'll help you with your math. My mama's 67 years old, got a tumor in her head, suffers from osteoporosis, got heart disease. She believes. I don't know if students in here know what this is. It's called a student's prayer. Same guy. St. Thomas Aquinas. You're supposed to pray it right before you do your exams. This is a bar of soap. It is said it comes from Mexico. See, I don't know what's out there. You need to expand your mind beyond Iowa, the whole United States out there. Jabón del estudiante. Soap of the student. It's in Spanish, obviously, because it's from Mexico. It says that you bathe your head and your heart. That's it. Not the rest of your body. So you might have good energy. You might cleanse away the negativity and bring positivity. He said, Lord, I'm so going to do that. Because I can go get a 4-pack of Irish Spring. I'll be clean as hell after the night. Diego was running around. He was a peasant, rolled up to a tree. And the Virgen de Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary, came up to him and said, I want you to build a temple on this hill. He says, I cannot do that. The bishop don't want me to build no temple. He won't believe that I saw the Virgin Mary. So then the Virgin Mary says, threw him some roses, Castilian roses. Take them back to your ignorant bishop and tell him where you got these. The bishop believed. So now the Virgen of Guadalupe and the roses and Juan Diego are canonized. There's immigrants that come to this country via Arizona, Nevada, Texas. Believe it or not, there's a patron saint called Death. The immigrants wear this around their necks when they're crossing the deserts to protect them from her. He's the person who takes your life, so they say. Is that true? I don't know. But it's there. Our people built the pyramids in South America. So ask your history professors and your world geography professors, why aren't y'all talking about those pyramids in Mexico and Latin America? The Mayan, the Azteca, the Inca? No, all we do is talk about Egypt. Did you know that our people created a calendar by looking at the stars? No machinery. They just lined up the stars. They were mathematicians and astrologers. I'll tell you that in history. Why? Because everything's taught from a European perspective. Understand? This is not being heard. Can you tell me any other culture that can make a car hot like ours? Huh? Just roll low and slow. No. The only way you can get your car up in there is to get a big old truck and put some big old 50-inch tires on it. They're like Bigfoot rolling around. Our car's up and down, side to side, three-wheel. It takes engineering to do that. It symbolizes the cowboy, the vaquero. The cowboy is, so to speak, the hard worker, the gentleman, the caretaker of the family. Think about that. Our people work in the fields. They work in the fields in Postfield. They work in the fields here, everywhere across the state. Whether it's picking corn, working in a hot farm, tasseling, eggs, fruit, vegetables. Yet we want to deport them all. But you can go to Panera Bread and get your vegetables. Who knows where they come from? Somebody picked them. They're more likely to look like that. Think about it. Survival of the fittest. Isn't that what Darwin said? They do what they do with what they got. And you know what? It's menial. So what the hell are they complaining about? Are you going to get your ass up in there and pull them weeds? Think about it. Everybody wants to go vegan all of a sudden. Who the hell think you're pulling your damn vegetables? I'm on the Iowa Department of Human Rights. You should know how egotistical, arrogant our politicians are, creating ignorant laws to deport all these people. Yeah, the guy in Postville violated a crime, but has that company gotten back to where it was before it was? Hell no. It ain't producing like it was. If anything, it shut down. This is what our people have to deal with. That's real talk. How many of you have gone to Costa Rica, Cozumel, Puerto Vallarta? Do you see in there Spanish and Latin served only, no whites allowed? You've been overseas. Have you seen that? Hell no. The value of the dollar, the value of the human life. These are the people that fought for us. Just like my brothers and sisters of color who had MLK, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, all those great leaders. These are a few of ours. They were not militant. But because I've become vocal and I've been told I'm militant, I had to go read a book called The Making of a Chicano Militant, because I want to know why he was calling me that. These are our idols. Just like y'all got idols. Jennifer Lopez, actress. Justin Bieber knew what he was doing. He wanted some spice in his life. He went after a Latina. That boy knew what was up. Reporter, hip-hop artist, journalist, pro football player. He's struggling, but he's trying. First Cuban Supreme Court Justice. Many of you don't know who this is. It's Paul Rodriguez Jr., the son of Paul Rodriguez, the comedian. He is the first They say Hispanic, which I don't like, and I'll get to that. He's the first Chicano to get a multi-million-dollar skating contract from Nike. It's been endorsed by Nike for his skateboard ability. This is what we contribute to society. This is what I looked up to. Soccer's very strong in the Latin community. The zoot suit, just like the lowrider, we take something and we make it our own. The mariachis. Look at the charro. It's the same charro. Pancho Villa was labeled a bandit. But isn't it not true that he started a revolution to revolutionize his people because his people were being oppressed because of the nobility over the peasantry? But he killed people? Well, didn't the U.S. cavalry do so also? All them damn Indians they had to roll by plus the Mexican land they took? But it was not no right for Pancho Villa to do that, right? Santos, one of the best wrestlers in the world. Look him up. Our Ladies, folklorico. The original, Cesar Chavez, boxing champion. He had over 100 fights. The Caballero. Believe it or not, ladies. Montañez, the creator and inventor of the birth control pill. Look it up. He was a Mexican. They invented the birth control and contraceptives. Camarena made the first TV. Yeah, the German got the patent, but he's got his to work. We contributed also. Don't look down on us. No somos bajos. We're just not low class. We're just not in the dirt and grind. We've contributed to society, whether society wants us or not. It's a whole other culture. And this is what we're faced with today. The Berlin Wall broke. We stopped communism, didn't we? What I'm saying is, I'm not saying open the gates wide open and flood it out. You come to this country, you learn to speak English. I believe in that. Because just like you want me to go to Mexico, I need to learn to speak Spanish, right? Then you need to learn to speak English, but you need to figure out how to do it the right way. The United States does not know what that right way is. But yet, we got the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement. Oh, we love. Because for our dollar, think about it, one of our dollars is 11 over there. You take $2 across the border, you got $20. You get drunk and you plate of nachos all day. So $20. But it didn't cost you $20, it cost you $2. For every American dollar, it's 11 in Mexico. Bottom line, what I'm saying to you, gentlemen and ladies, is it. The worst thing you can call an Indian is a squaw. Worst thing you can call an Asian is a chink. An Italian a wop. A Mexican a spick. And I can keep going. And the question has been asked, what is the worst thing you can call a white person? Doesn't take much thinking. I dare you to call a white person, you're a damn racist, and see how they react. But that's the worst thing you can call a European American. Bottom line, I've been a gang member. I've been struggling with poverty. I came from a dysfunctional family that abandoned me, that neglected me, that left me in the hole to survive. I had to learn on my own terms. I struggled. I got shot once, twice, and then a third. I deal with a lot of emotions because I don't feel that I've paid for my sins yet. And I'm nervous right now. Because 80 days from now, I'll be graduating from the University of Northern Iowa. I will be the first in my intermediate family to get that degree. I will be the first from the whole goddamn barrio to make it out of gang and drug culture. I'll be making history. Do you know how powerful that is? I'm nervous. I'm scared. Because I don't know what's going to happen to me when I go back home. Am I going to be a threat to these brothers? Am I going to intimidate them now? Because Darwin talks about evolution. It changed. I've changed. And as of yesterday, I have not terminated my bachelor's degree. I still ain't got my associate's, but it's on the way. But I've been accepted into post-secondary student affairs program here at UNI. So if I want, I have the option to get my master's degree in the fall. How many gangbangers and thugs and criminals you know I've done that? Did I stop doing what I was doing? Hell yeah. Did I walk away? I did, with a blessing. Do I look back? No. Hell no. Will I go back? I have to. Because I'm a humble person. I am the streets. I bleed the streets. But I believe in the positive side of the streets. Because when you've gone through what you've gone through and you made it out the hole, you become what's called like my fellow brother over there, Dante Means in the audience, you become a street angel. You don't leave the streets. You don't forget about the streets. You go back and try to figure out how to make a difference in the streets. You almost become the patron saint to the streets. Because you made it, brother. You made it, sister. How can you make it? Well, Ramón Cantú made it, and he got 3 holes in his damn body. I rode with the best gangsters. Hell yeah! But I stand against gangs. I realized it was wrong. But understand that I was put in a predicament where I had no choice. I really didn't have no choice. You can't say that, well, you could have made a choice. There was options. You don't know that life unless you stood in the damn shoes. To talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. Don't let these courses and books you're reading about tell you something. Go learn about it from the real people. You want to be a sociologist? Go in the field. Anybody can sit in 4 walls and learn a book. The books ain't going to help you out in the streets. Experience will. I'm not dogging the books. You need it. It's a supplement to what you're already doing. But what I'm saying is, there ain't no book that ever saved nobody's life yet. But it saved mine. See what I'm saying? I just said there ain't no book that didn't save nobody's life, but it saved mine. Because all those kids out there saying, them books ain't for me. It ain't going to do nothing for me. But they can't say it saved mine. It wasn't a homeboy, a gangster, a fellow brother that saved my life in every 3 shootings. It was a person who had a degree. I struggle with religion because I don't know how real it is. I have this ongoing fight with the Lord. Why the hell did you put me through this? Why am I going through this conscious meltdown that I don't want to graduate? Because I'm scared. I've been gangbanging for 17 years. I don't know what to do now. The last time I left the gang was 2006. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's not even 6 years ago. I'm not fully rehabilitated in my mind to understand that this is acceptable. I struggle with success. I don't like it. How would I if I've been a failure all my life? Shirt and tie and shooting nice, shiny shoes don't mean nothing. Yeah, I like these gators, but you know what I'm saying? It don't make me. What makes me as a human, through my own evolution, is that I've said no to the streets. My mentors tell me, Ramón, you're getting too loud. You're gonna frustrate these gang members. Dr. Khan, Dr. Praglin, Dr. Roberts, do you think I'm scared, brother and sister? Let them come on and try to knock me out. Because if they do, at least they knocked me out when I was doing something good. Understand And if I walk out this door this afternoon and somebody didn't like what they heard and they took my life, what do you think would sound better in the newspaper? Drug deal gone bad, gang member shot to death. Or, youth advocate, Iowa State Commissioner, UNI student was gunned down in front of CME. I'll take the latter one in a heartbeat. Yes, I will. I smile at death. Not because I'm afraid. Not because I'm strong. Because I can accept it. Because I've dealt with death. I've lived it. I'm living it now. My conscience bothers me. So when I say to you, whatever you do in your life, look at it as a mistake. A mistake is a retake. Why did my gang brothers chose to die? I don't know. I don't know why their time expired. I'm going to show you how real I am. I ain't some television wannabe wankster. Here's a list of all my gang brothers that have been dead. I carry it as a reminder of who I live with and who I lost. What I don't want to be and what I don't want to return to. For those of you that don't know what OD means, it means overdose, of course, natural. And I got one that's vegetated. He's being fed by tubes because he got shot in the neck. These are my gang brothers. I need to add one, by the way. Please be very careful with that. It's old. Be a free thinker. Be an inquirer. Because I'm still thinking. I got accepted into a master's program. I never thought I'd make it to academia. You don't know. Academia wasn't me. I was groomed for a penitentiary, not a university. But I found a way out of escape. So whatever problems you're in, and I'm not preaching, you're going to escape too. You just got to know how to navigate. Am I fearful for my life? Yes. I've come to that term. Because I honestly think that when I go back home to Texas, I think something bad going to happen to me. But I'm all right with that. Because I'm private. You think they're going to let a brother like me get away? I'm intimidated. They're intimidated by success. Why do you think I'm so scared of it? Huh? I'm doing good. I'm getting a degree. Got accepted to a master's program. But I got my own fellow gang that might take it away from me. Because they don't want to see that. I'm a threat to the rest of their future gang members. Imagine when they go recruit my old gang. It's been around for about 40, 50 years. And they go and try to recruit some guys from my neighborhood. And those guys, 10, 11, 12 years old, will say, we ain't joining y'all's gang. We want to do what Ramon's doing. What do you think that does? They don't like that because I'm taking power away from them. They got to put me down. Even if they got to make it look like a robbery. They give me a really nice funeral, drink a couple of 40s, shoot some guns off, throw a bunch of bandanas in the casket, case closed. That's reality. Don't want that to happen? No. Could it happen? It's possible. Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me speak to you on this day. Appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions? Because being that this session started a little late, we have a few minutes. Am I right? Okay. Questions? Anything? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you said that we teach English wrong to the Latinos, if I heard you right. Well, what should we be doing?
Teach it like we're teaching it to an international student. They don't know English. Because some Spanish speakers do know some broken English. Speak it to them like it's totally foreign. Beginning with ABCs. Like if it's totally ignorant. Because they're not embracing the language. Because they feel they don't need it. Because they feel they can get by with the broken English. And they think that's okay when it is not. So they'll rebel against it. And they won't learn the true nature of the English language to make a complete sentence into where it's recognizable as English.
Well, you know, I'm with you that it has to be good English for them to get ahead and all that. And I know that the Spanish or the English is taught wrong to the Latino, different from the way we did when most of the immigrants were from Europe.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct. Accent has a lot to do with it as well. Questions? Anyone? Yes.
Post Waterloo folks, do you think that there's like this vast opinion that outside the borders of Iowa, people just drop out into outer space?
Yeah. Yeah, they have no choice. Whatever space we don't take up, they take the next door. And imagine what's in that space. Not much. Because we've taken it all. So imagine if you make a dish your family eats, and then I come in as a guest, but I came late. You started dinner without me, and that's okay. But I take whatever's left in that pan. And I might not even get a main dish. I might get some sides. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there more to what might motivate someone to join a gang other than fear and bullying? For instance, you said that a lot of gangsters don't make it to the top, and that's just a Scarface dream, and that the drug dealers are the only ones who actually make money. Do you think if drugs were not involved in and I guess what perpetuates a gang, if drugs were not involved, let's hypothetically say that drugs were in an open market and regulated elsewhere, do you think gangs would still be prominent based on that their people are inducted by fear, they join by fear?
Drugs assist in the mobility of a gangster to access goods. Most gang members can read. Most gang members have a vehicle or access one. Most gang members have a peer. But within that group, there's no support, there's no education, there's no job skills. They're poverty-stricken, socioeconomic. They're exposed to violence. Violence is normalized. I saw my father shoot a man at a very young age. Did he kill him? No. But he did enough to hurt him. My father could care less if I was right there. He had to do what he had to do. When you get exposed to violence, it becomes so normal that the average person in Iowa goes, oh my God. It happens every day in the hood. What do you mean, oh my God? Are you serious? Really? Think about it. There's a murder rate every day in the metropolitan area. Here in the rural state, you're not going to get that. But there was a murder 6-7 weeks ago. But that stays in Waterloo. See what I'm saying? It doesn't affect an affluent community. But imagine if that gang member had access to an affluent community that's positive. Drugs gives them the opportunity to make money because they're lacking every other skill. To sell drugs is to have a commodity to sell where there's a supply and a demand. Well, there's a supply and demand for drugs. Why aren't there a supply and demand for education? Think about it. Are you putting books in that guy's hands? Are you recruiting that guy? Because to say you want to recruit that is to say you want to recruit me. Yet you accept me into a master's program. So you can't say you can't accept a former criminal. I made it. So who's to say they can't make it? Don't use drugs as as a hindrance to say, okay, without the drugs, they can't do nothing. Fine, they can't, but they'll find other means to exploit. Survival of the fittest. You find a way to survive. Survival. And that might be nothing. My mentor said, well, Ramon, you need to look into the future. No. I live by the day. Rice and beans. I could care less for steak and potato. I'll have it once a month, but I don't care for it every day. I like my enchiladas, tostadas, and tacos. You know what I'm saying? It keeps me humble. Because I survive with what I got. If I can afford this, then I'll afford it. But I want to buy it if it's going to hold me back. See what I'm saying? It's what you have access to. And if all you're doing is nickel and dime just to pay your lights, pay your water, go buy $20 in groceries, then you survive the day. Tomorrow's another day. How do I do it? Do I go mow a lawn? Do I go rob somebody? Do I do a drug deal? You find the means to survive, whatever it takes necessary. Any other questions? We got about a minute left.
What gave you the opportunity to change your life?
Mr. R.L. Alholm, who was a German computer science teacher. He used to page me in a beeper. Ramon, can you come to class? No, those teachers don't want me. I'm a gangster. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. What if I get all your subjects and you take all your classes? This is high school. You take all your classes in my class. Nobody messes with you. You do the work. You complete the task. We turn them in. And we do it week to week to week till you graduate. He would page me over and over. And I had to weigh so many quarters. I was back in the days when quarters everywhere. I used to roll around with a bag of quarters in a pager. What do you want, Mr. Alholm? I need you to come to class. He never gave up on me. He saw past the criminality. He saw past, he saw the wisdom. He said, you know what? If I take all his hindrances and all his negative circumstances away, this kid is bright. But we don't look at individuals like that. What do? As human beings, we judge people. It's natural. You judge them. You would have never thought in your life, if you saw me in the streets just like this, that I've been shot 3 times and been a gangster. Never. It would have never occurred to you. It's only when I disclosed it to you that you now know. Yes.
What ideas do you have of possible counter-arguments to either poverty or gang-affiliated folks to counter-arguments not to study or to do school?
Welfare reform. People take advantage of the welfare system, they stay on the welfare system. Create upward mobility in people. If I tell you there's a deadline and I say, you need to get this done by Friday, I know I told you next week, what are you going to do? You're going to get it done or not. You know, instead of putting people on 5-year welfare system program, I don't say welfare is bad, but what I'm saying is include in there so the adults, the family members get those skills, because a lot of this poverty and lifestyle is multi-generational. There's been families that have been living in a project since the great-great-grandmothers. So what you do is you reform the welfare system, you create leadership programs. Like, for example, UNI has a program called Creating Unity Between Schools. It's called UNI Panther Cubs. What it does is it takes young men from the streets and brings them here to academia and says, this is what's possible. You plan an early leadership of education, you do some welfare reform, and you give those parents skills that are useful out in the streets to get jobs. Yes, sir.
And then you support them with jobs. That's our responsibility. We support them with funding to go to school and support them with jobs. I wanted to add that to your point, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, because with all the skills in the world, if there's no jobs there to pick up those skills, then they're still stuck in the same place. Except the only difference is they're skilled now. So, okay, here's skill. Take the skill for a year, but is there going to be a job at the end of the skill once you've mastered it? As you can see, a lot of college students around the nation are struggling. How do I can't find a job? Because we done gave all of our skilled jobs to another country. We need to figure out how to keep them here. Iowa is a perfect place to keep jobs here. But it needs to figure out how to create them and bring them here so that we sustain our students. Because if you notice, our students from the main 3 universities are going out of state to seek jobs because there's none here. So you keep supplying them off, well, then they're not going to stay here. This economy drains, it goes down, other economies get enriched because our educators and those that become educated have gone on elsewhere. One last question, if there is one. No?
You had briefly mentioned that you didn't like the word Hispanic. Is that?
I don't like the word Latino because that means anybody south of Mexico. I don't like the word Hispanic because that's a government name. Hispanic is the history of Spain. I'm not Spaniard. Never been to Spain. Don't know nobody from Spain. I don't look like somebody from Spain. Don't talk like somebody from Spain. I don't like Latino. I don't like Hispanic. I don't like Mexican American. I don't know nobody in Mexico. Maybe been to Mexico. Family 3-4 generations backward from Mexico. I am an American, but I'm not a Mexican American. I was born here. So I take on the word Chicano. Another word is mestizo. Mestizo means a mixture of bloods. You know? Okay, if you're an American, what are you? What would you say you are? Do you know your ancestral roots?
German.
Do we go around and say you're German American?
No.
But we say you're white. What does that mean? Think about that. I'm not saying it to put you down. I'm just saying, open your eyes to why is that? Why, when we call you white and not German American, but why do you need to call me Hispanic or Mexican American? I was born here just like you were. So why do I have to identify with my mother country if I was born here? I love this flag as much as anybody else does. See what I'm saying? Anything else? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You have a wonderful evening.